Has Rassie Erasmus just named the side that are going to deliver a BOKLASH in Cape Town? Rassie has named his 23-man squad. It was an awful day for the Springboks on Saturday. Well, actually, for South African sport in general, because the cricket team lost on the final ball to Australia. There was, I think the national football team are now out of the Africa Cup of Nations, aren't they? Dricus du Plessis lost his world middleweight UFC title. But the most shocking, and probably the one that's dented the national pride the most, is at the spiritual home of South African rugby, Ellis Park. The Springboks not just getting beaten, getting a working over by the Wallabies, and what made it all the more painful is it happened after they were 22-0 up. I would love to have been a fly on the wall in the team meetings. I'd love to just get a sense of the frustration that must be there in the South Africa camp, and I think we're going to feel that. I think BOKLASH incoming, and when you look at the side that Rassie Erasmus has selected, I think it looks like a side to me, and tell me if you disagree with this. It looks like there's going to be an element of back to basics about this. There's going to be some of that old school Bok DNA coming through in the performance. I don't think it will be all kicking and mauling and scrummaging, but I think there's going to be a re-emphasis on some of those traits that you associate with South African rugby. A factory reset being hit, if you like, and it's going to be done without some of their talisman, because among the injuries, players that are unavailable for this one, the captain, Siya Kolisi, the guy who leads with his actions rather than his words, Pieter-Steph du Toit, an absolute totem, a god among men of a rugby player. Those are two of the players that are unavailable. Edwill van der Merwe, I think Kurtley Arendse also another injury. So the game at Ellis Park took its toll, not just in the Rugby Championship table, but in the actual personnel that are available for this one. It does present an opportunity for others. And sometimes, and especially when you've got the depth of talent and the number of players that are available, sometimes all you need is an opportunity. And are we going to see someone grabbing an opportunity? And I do think that's also a little question I'll pose at the start. Were you hoping and were you expecting a few more opportunities to be given to other players? I'm thinking of Vincent Tuchuka, I'm thinking of Ethan Hooker, for example. Some of that next gen of Springbok rugby still waiting in the wings for their opportunity. And fair play, Rassie Erasmus was really honest after the game at the weekend, and he said, we'd already picked a team, but we're going to have to change that now that we've lost, and possibly because of the injuries as well. And he did mention Ethan Hooker by name, so they'd already picked their team for Cape Town before last weekend, and that, look, by the sounds of it, that has changed. Maybe significantly, maybe a little bit, I don't know. But I don't know what you thought, but I also wondered whether we weren't going to get the Springbok team today at one point. Having heard about the injuries yesterday, and there was a press conference scheduled with Rassie Erasmus for, I think it was midday today, and it came quite a bit after that. They're not obligated to name a team for, well, basically until, is it Thursday or Friday? 2 days before, I think. So that's when we'll get the Wallaby team. I love the fact that we've now got stuff to talk about for the next couple of days. Otherwise we wouldn't. So once again, thank you for Bok Tuesday. How beautiful is this? Absolutely stunning. An African sunset is very, very special. Just a quick moment to say thank you to Lion Roar's Hotels for their support on this trip to South Africa. I've absolutely loved it. And they have got somewhere for you to stay right the way down the Garden route, in the middle of Cape Town, right in the heart of the action, all the way to Port Elizabeth, whether you're going to the Winelands, whether you're heading to the coast like I am now. Even a safari you can do with Lion Roar's Hotels. I'm currently staying at the Robberg Beach Lodge. This is Robberg Beach in Plettenberg Bay. It is beautiful around here. The accommodation is stunning. But the star of the show, as is so often the case in South Africa, as I can just see the pink haze in the reflection of the water on the shoreline. The star of the show is that. The ocean out there, the mountains inland. Awesome. So thank you, Lion Roar's Hotels. I'll leave a link in the description. And yeah, without those big names that I mentioned that are unavailable, rotation coming in, key positions, and those big decision-making positions of 10 and 15, Pollard in, Sasha FM, my favourite radio station on the bench, And at fullback, Willy Leroux in with Fassi and Damien Willems are dropping out of the 23. So Libbok, Willems, Fassi dropping out, Pollard, Sacha FM and Leroux coming in. And when things aren't going well and you've got someone like Andre Pollard, well, no, I say things aren't going well. It's one game. This is the thing as well. I keep having to remind myself. Let's say the Boks go and win by 30, 40 at the weekend, or just win full stop. Then the whole narrative changes again. Argentina go and beat New Zealand. The narrative changes again. It just speaks to the fact that this competition is going to be a great one. But when you're disappointed and you just feel like you maybe want to reassert yourself, Andre Pollard. On the video before the game at the weekend, I went around a load of South African fans, and if you haven't checked this one out, do go and check it out. And I went around and I asked the question, right, 2027 World Cup final, let's say South Africa are in it, who is wearing the 10 jersey? And I got a mixture of Sacha, Marnie and Pollard answers. I would go for Andre Pollard. Hopefully Sacha FM comes through and makes that shirt his own, because his goal kicking is elite as well. The two of them between them, although Marnie is great. I also asked it about the number 15 jersey, and the majority were going for Fassi. He didn't have a good day at the weekend. Neither did Damien Willems. And Rassie Erasmus said in the post-match press conference they're lacking confidence. In comes Willy Leroux. The other one I asked about was number 8. And I got various answers of Jasper Wiese and Cameron Hanekom, and some said Siya Kolisi. Jean-Luc Depree is there on this occasion, and he has got a big opportunity. Now, I'm from Manchester in England, and so I've watched Jean-Luc Depree play for the last few years. He's a beast. He is a beast. And when I look at the BOK team, I think Jasper Wiese is an animal. There's still limitations to his game, and I do think there is a Dwayne Vermeulen shaped hole in that BOK side. A big bear of a man who will win the collisions, but also has that just real good rugby brain and soft pair of hands. And I'm not saying Jean-Luc Depree is going to be that guy, but I think he could. And so this is one of those days where you might look back in 2027 and think, yeah, do you remember when Siya Kolisi got injured? Pieter-Steph du Toit as well. There were other guys out, and then Jasper Wiese had a suspension. Jean-Luc Depree comes in and just dominated. He could. We'll see. I'm really excited to see that one. When I look at the pack in general, I just think massive. That's massive. There's well, if you count Franco Mostert in the back row, there's 5 locks in the 23, and Jean-Luc Depree has played at lock quite a bit for Sale Sharks. So you could argue there are 6 locks there. That is a whole lot of physical work that is going to get done. And as I say, I just think this looks like a team that is back to basics. Right, you had that one and you beat us on the outside. We're going to absolutely pulverise you now. Obviously, that's not what they're going to come out and say, but the line-out got cleaned out. Nick Frost did an absolutely world-class job at line-out, and he did it against the British and Irish Lions as well. So I think the selection, Snyman, Norkia, Mostert, Etzebeth and Diago on the bench, it also speaks to the fact, I mean, if you can't sort your line-out out with those individuals, then there's bigger problems. And there's some serious stuff that needs to be sorted out. So I expect the line-out to be sorted out. I'm so excited to see Thomas the Tank at tight head prop. He's played at loose head prop through July. He's in his favoured position, and yes, it's a slight bias because I live in England, so I watch the Premiership a lot, and I've talked him up so much on the channel that Thomas the Tank is not only the best tight head prop in the Premiership, he is the best rugby player in the Premiership, and he might be. I've argued that he could be the best tight head prop in the world. Wilco Low on the bench. I mean, those two. Thomas du Toit starting, Wilco Low off the bench it's like almost like a tight head prop cheat code. So I'm really excited about it. No Siya Kolisi for the breakdown. I think that should be okay with Marco van Staden in, and I think Malcolm Marx is going to be given a lot more of a job at the breakdown. He's so good in that area, and they just need to be tidy. So, but I think one of the easiest ways to be tidy at the breakdown and to not give Fraser McWright or Tom Hooper or Rob Valentini or whoever is playing, to not give them a sniff, the easiest way is to just win every collision. And then it takes the option of the jackal steel out of the picture. And so I think it's going to be a front up, be nasty, be traditionally BOK performance, and the pack, I think, looks set up to do that. And I think with Pollard, with LaRue, with Moody on the wing, you've got a back line which can, and Colby as well is amazing in the air for a little guy, you've got a back line that can go to the air a little bit more maybe than they did, game manage a little bit more than they did, and just try and squeeze. I use the analogy of a boa constrictor. That's when the BOKs look their best, when they just squeeze you. And this looks like a team that can squeeze, and when they've got the foot on the throat, and I'm mixing the analogies now, yeah, lights out, as I said on the video the other day. So back to basics, raining bombs, F them up physically, pride hurts, so go out and smash them. And then guys like Ebenezer Beth and Quagga Smith coming off the bench. Whether they can actually deliver on that is another matter. And going back to what I said earlier, is it a concern in any way that someone like Franco Mostert is coming in the 7 jersey rather than Vincent Tuchuka? Is it a slight concern that, well, actually, I mean, Caden Moody's really young, but I was going to say, is it a slight concern that Villy LaRue comes into the back 3 and not a guy like Ethan Hooker? I know they're not the same position, but you take my point. At some point, the evolution has got to happen. It doesn't have to happen really quickly. You don't have to get rid of all the old guard and get in the new guns. But I mean, I'm expecting, well, if this team goes well, and depending on the injury situation, it could be a similar team or a similar 23 in different positions going to New Zealand for those epic matches that are incoming. We will see. It's a big one, this, isn't it? It's big. It feels like a statement needs to be made by South Africa. So, from the dunes and the sunshine at Plettenberg Bay, I am going to go and get some food in, because how many steps have I done today? 26,000 steps. I've walked quite a bit. My legs are aching, but I've had an awesome day. And thank you so much for your support on the channel. I'll see you on the next one.